everybody, welcome back to another programming video. This is going to expand upon last video where we talked about calling an API in Python to get the price of Bitcoin without authentication. I have two videos with and without, so you can choose your poison, I guess, and get the live price of Bitcoin. If you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to hit subscribe. We've been getting a lot of subscribers in the last 28 days. I'm very thankful for all of you that have subscribed, and the views and the watch time has both gone up in the last month. So that's awesome. Thank you very much. And at the end of this video, I talked about wanting to make a web page where it displayed the price of Bitcoin, kind of like what you would see in CoinMarketCap. If you know what CoinMarketCap is, you can go check that out. I think that's all I got to talk about. So yeah, look at this video and let's hop into it. So I started it a little bit already because I've done plenty of videos on Flask in the past, and if you want to check those out, how to start a Flask project, feel free to do so. But pretty much all I added between then and now are these 3 lines. So don't worry thinking that you're too far behind. So what I did is I just created a Flask application, and my plan is to have 2 different routes. One that returns JSON of this request, okay? And then another route, which is going to be like the index, where it just displays the web page. So they're both going to be get. Let's just work on the web page first. So I think I started this. The first thing I want to do is I want to make a folder in here. If I can spell it, it's called templates. And inside of that, we're going to create index.html. That's just going to be our HTML page. And let's just make it like that. And then the title, we can just say like BTC or whatever. And then right here, I'm just going to type test. So when we call it, we can see if it even works when we go to run this. So let's do app.route. And then the route's just going to be the slash. It's going to be the index. And let's do method is going to be equal to get. We're not going to do any post because we're not, validating any form data or anything like that. And definition, let's just call it index, right? And then what do we want to do? Well, we can return render template and then the name index.html, and that has to be in quotes, index.html. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything in here. Actually, we don't really need this for now. I think there's a way to comment it out. Yeah. Let's just comment that out. And then we can do app.run. Okay, I think this is going to work. Let's go ahead and try running this. No, what is it mad about? It's methods, not method. I did this before in a different video. All right, let's clear this because I don't like all the clutter. And let's try running this again. This is a development server. Do not use it in a production development. It should be production environment, not development. Anyway, there we go. We got test. And we can see BTC, the title. So we know that that works now. Cool. So I'm going to keep it running because what's nice is now that it's in debug, every time we make a change and we save, it restarts the localhost. So we don't have to worry about that. So what I want to do is I want to display the price of Bitcoin and then keep querying that price and change it on the web page without having to refresh the whole web page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just for testing, let's put it in an H1. And let's give it an ID of, I don't know, BTC price. You can name it whatever you want. Feel free to do so. Okay, so let's go back to this and let's create another path or route. So this route is going to be slash get price, or maybe BTC price is a better way. Okay, and then methods, plural, is going to be get. So now let's define get price, as we'll name it. So this is where we're going to call this right here that I commented out. Okay, and we're literally just going to return that. Return response. I think that's all we got to do. So I'm just going to actually, I could keep this here, it's commented out, it's not going to hurt anything, but I'm just going to kill it because we don't need it anymore, right? So this is getting the JSON of the request, and just to make sure, let's change it to JSON by doing .json, and then we're going to return that. Cool. So I think that's all we really have to do. I'm surprised this thing didn't refresh. Oh, you know what? I don't think I spelled it right. It's debug in all caps. Let's try it again. Let's kill it and try running it again. There we go. Though it said this is a development server earlier, so maybe it was working. I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. So I think that's all we have to do in the Python side. So once again, I have two routes. I have the index, which is going to return index.html. It's going to return the web page, and then I have another route that's going to return the JSON of the response, which is querying, what's the price of Bitcoin? That's what it's querying. That's what it's asking. So in order to call that get price, or BTC price, we're actually going to do it in JavaScript. And so we're going to make a function in JavaScript. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do on load. I'm going to call the function get price. So once it loads this body, it's going to run this function. And now let's go ahead and let's define the function get price. It's not going to take anything. All right, let's space it a little bit. I kind of like spaces. There we go. So let's create a variable called request. And that's going to be equal to an XML HTTP request. And what this object allows us to do, it allows us to call our API, our route, BTC price, and then do whatever we want with that data without having to refresh the web page like how I explained before, how I want it to work. Okay? So now we have to open a new connection. So we can do request.open. And this is going to be a get. And then the path. So in our case, it's going to be, let's go ahead and just copy this. Right, because this is localhost. And then BTC price. Because that's what we named this route. All right, and now we're going to create an event. So request.onLoad, and it's going to be this function. So var, I'm going to call it data, is going to be equal to json.parse, and it's going to parse the response that we're going to receive by calling this. I forgot to put semicolons there. There we go. Okay, so we have our data, which is the JSON object, right, that we're going to get back by calling this BTC price route. Now we have to parse the data. And I talked about this in the last video where we parsed through it and just got the rate, because that's all we want. So in order to get there, we want to go BPI USD rate. Okay, in that order. So let's do var response is going to be equal to data, and then BPI, it's going to be lowercase, USD rate. Right, because that's how it gets there. It goes to BPI USD. And let's just do a console.log response. So once we load this page, I'm going to bring up the console in the DevTools in Chrome, and we will see what it gives us, if it gives us the right value. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull it up. You can see there's nothing, but if I hit F, was it 12? Yeah. Go to console. Let's try it again. Let's reload. Uncaught error. Failed to construct. Please use the new operator. Whoops. Yeah. Rookie mistake. It's going to be new because it's an object, right? Okay. Let's try it again. There we go. But now we're not getting anything. Okay, I forgot a crucial part. We actually have to send the request. Right now, we haven't sent it. We created the connection. We created the onload event. But we never actually sent the request. So we just do request.send, that method. Whoops. Okay. See, we're all in this together. We're all learning together. Let's go ahead and refresh. And then now in the console, you can see $44,376 US dollars. Cool. So now if I do it again, there we go. We're getting it. And you can see down here, it's letting us know that this has been called. Okay, so what I want it to do is I want it to put the value in this h1. So if we do, let's call this header. I'm going to create a variable called, I can't type today. That's going to be document.getElementById. And the name, which is BTC price. And then if we do header.enter HTML, that's just going to be equal to response, all right? All right, let's try refreshing that. Cool. Now you can see it's putting it into that header. Great. So above our function we wrote, I want to go ahead and create like a timer. So it calls this get price every so often. And what I found to be a pretty good sweet spot is 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to do constant interval. It's going to be equal to set interval. And it's going to run this function. And this function is going to be get price. Okay. And then at the end of that function, how often do we want to run it? This is in milliseconds, so we have to do it in thousands. So it's going to be 5,000. So that'll be 5 seconds, right? Okay. All right, let's clear some of the space. That looks good. So now every 5 seconds, it's going to call get price, query it, and then load it back into this without ever refreshing the page now. So let's go ahead. Let's refresh it. And then let's just watch. And then after 5 seconds, there it goes. Just did it again. Sooner or later, the price is going to change. There it is. It just changed. So you can see we got 3 of the same price. And then 2. And then let's see if it changes on the 3rd one. Or maybe the 4th. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's working. All right, guys. So maybe in the next video I'll style this. I don't know if I'll end it here, but basically what I wanted to do was when it goes up in price, it turns green. Then when it drops down in price, it'll turn red. And maybe it'll blink or something too. That's what I kind of wanted to do, but I feel like this video is going to be too long if I do that. So maybe I'll do that in another video, or maybe I'll just leave it up to you. We'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned something, and I will see you in the next one.